Welcome to Fantasy Football Hub for the fourth episode in the My Team series. Today, Fantasy Football Hub's very own Fergi will be going through his current FPL team. This is a man who once won £75,000 through fantasy football a couple of years ago. I mean, that is astonishing. And he also has 4 top 20k finishes with an all-time best rank of 715. Fergi, pleasure to have you on. How are you doing, mate?
And you too, Jack. Yeah, I'm really excited for the new season. A really good break over the summer. Buzzing for the new season. Buzzing for using my team as well. I think it's looking really, really good. And just excited. I want to get it all going. I'm only, what is it, like 3.5 weeks left now. So
yeah, we're getting there.
Let's go.
Well, let's get straight into your team. The My Team tool is up on screen. As always, we're building this on Fantasy Football Hub's My Team tool. If you want to have a go yourself, get down in the description and compare your team rating to Fergie's. Fergie, start us off. Who you got in goal?
I've gone for Steele in goals. He doesn't seem to be very popular, on Twitter and in the community and stuff. I think a lot are going for Flecken or going for someone a bit more expensive, but just think Brighton, I think they got 4 of their first 6 at home. They've got really good fixtures. He seemed to nail the place towards the end of last season. And for 4.5 million, I think he's really good value. He's also second overall on the Hub's predicted points for keepers as well. So I really like him in goals. I've got Areola on the bench at the moment, just, a 4 million fodder. He could, there's rumours he could get the jersey this year. If he does, I think he'd be in everyone's team at 4 million. I am waiting for Onana's price at Man United. Yeah. I think if he's 5 million, he's going to be incredibly tempted. I would be surprised if they put him in at 5 because I just think everyone will have him. So I reckon they'll price him at 5.5, but we will see. We'll see in due course.
Very interesting. So would that tempt you at 5 million to go away from Steele?
I think so. The only problem is because United, as we'll talk about next, probably have got such good fixtures as well. He then takes up United spot. So, for people who are wanting, a defender and maybe a double up in midfield or attack, it takes away that option. So this is what I've been weighing up. So at the moment, I think I'm pretty set on Steele because I think the fullbacks of Man United have got more point potential than Onana early doors anyway.
Okay then, so moving on to your defence, I think you've given away a defender. Let's go for him.
I'm not sure I've given away a defender.
Oh, have you not?
Given away a position. I don't think so.
I see.
I'm going for Dalot.
Okay. Wow. There you go.
I'm going for Dalot.
Fair play.
5 million. He's a $500,000 saving on Shaw.
Nice.
I know there's a slight rotation risk with Wan-Bissaka, and it's something I'll obviously be keeping an eye on. But when Dalot plays, I think he's fantastic. He's very attacking. He's good on BPS. He got some goals and assists last year, and I really like him. So at the moment, obviously we'll see pre-season, we'll look at the minutes, but I really like him at 5 million. I think Shaw's a bit expensive for 5.5. So if I don't end up going with Dalot, I would be tempted to go for Onana potentially because I'm not that keen on Shaw. He's not doing very well on predicted points, Shaw, for the 5.5 million defenders to start off with due to their fixtures. I think they got 2 really tough away fixtures in the first 4. So yeah, I'll go with Dalot to start off with. And then Onana if he's 5, I think.
Really interesting pick. Okay, yeah, I mean that completely fooled me. Just 2% ownership, so a real differential just off the start. Love it. Okay, next defender.
Yeah, the next 2 are not so low owned. Sadly, I won't dwell on them, because I'm sure they're heavily owned. I think Estupiñán, is an absolute gift for Brighton. Got a double up at the moment at the back with Brighton, but I don't really mind that because I'm not investing heavily in defence. Spoiler alert, because if we look at what happened last year, there was just so many goals. It was goals, very few clean sheets. For most of the season, I think it's going to happen again. I just think that the lesser teams are getting a bit better. They've nearly all got a superstar. Well, I say a superstar. A decent forward up front who can get the odd goal, get a penalty. So I think the same again. So I'm not going for Trent, and I'm not going for a premium defender. And my third player at the back is Gabriel at 5 million. 10 shots on target last year. Massive threat off set pieces, absolutely nailed to play, and I really like him. Zinchenko is predicted to score higher in points over the opening few fixtures, so again I'm looking at him as well, see if he's nailed, because I really like Zinchenko, the same price. So it's Gabriel or Zinchenko as the third player for my 3 at the back at the moment.
Wow, so no Trent there. That is, I think that's the first team that I've seen in this series without Trent.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm really surprised. I just think I just look at the fixtures and I just don't see many clean sheets. I know he'll get the odd assist and things, but look at the fixtures for Liverpool if they're opening a few games.
They're
away
not
to
great.
Chelsea first. Home to Bournemouth, nice, fair enough. Away to Newcastle, I think they'll concede there. Home to Villa, I think they were there as well. So in those first four, I can personally see a maximum of 2 clean sheets personally, and that's a maximum. But we will see. Trent is Trent, and he's incredibly dangerous, as we know.
But for 8 million, perhaps it's worth going elsewhere. Okay, then now we can round off the defense. We might as well get it done quickly. I don't know if you're playing a back three or a back four, but let's see if you've got in defense.
Yeah, it's a back three, and I've got other ones I'm kind of tempted with. City defense always does really well on the hub predictor because they're expected goals conceded. Even though they tend to concede a goal a game, their actual underlying stats are always really good. So they're really high on there. I really like Shah at 5 million. He had the most shots on target last year of all defenders. I really like Shah at 5 million. Porro, I think, is going to have a really good season this season at 5 million as well. But for the time being, I've just gone for Botman or Henry in the kind of 4.5, and then Bayer at 4 million. So at the moment, I'm quite stretched with funds because I've got a pretty exciting midfield and attack, I think. But yeah, that's where my money is at the moment, not at the back.
Nice. Well, a very solid first sub there in Botman or Henry, whichever one you end up going with. But yeah, nice structure. I mean, the fact that you don't have Trent there means that you have pretty much an extra 3 million, 3.5 million perhaps on other managers to spend in these next 8 positions. Let's get into it. Who have you got in midfield?
So I've got a double up first for Man United, what I mentioned earlier. I'm going for Rashford and Bruno. Both, Rashford was sensational last year. I think Bruno was as well, but he didn't get the rewards for his effort. His underlying stats were ridiculous, really. Bruno, I can see him, if he plays in that, 8 or 10 role at the start of the season, the fixtures to, start off with incredibly strong. Home to Wolves, away to Spurs, home to Forest. Those first 3 there, I think are really, really strong. So I'm really happy to go for the double up there. Gone for Saka at Arsenal. He's my midfielder of choice. Obviously, Odegaard, Martinelli, but I like the fact that Saka's on penalties. I like the fact he's on corners. I think that always gives a player an edge. He scored hat-trick for England in the summer, scored a goal in pre-season already. So I think he's going to have an absolutely sensational season. I think he's been massively underpriced. 8.5 million. I've gone for Mbomo at the moment for Brentford. Again, I think he's crazy value if he retains his place up front on penalties. Good fixtures again. I think they've got, is it four of the first 6 at home? Yeah, home to Spurs, away to Fulham, home to Palace, home to Bournemouth, away to Newcastle, home to Everton. I think for 6.5 million, and I also think actually looking around that Brentford attack, there's some other interesting options there. But I've gone for Mbomo. He's the proven one in that team. And what the 3 million has potentially afforded me to have is my 5th midfielder, which at the moment is Heung-min Son,
Nice.
who I think is a far more exciting prospect personally than Trent for the opening games of the season. So Spurs away to Brentford, home to United, away Bournemouth, Burnley, Sheffield United. So, they've got those first 5 fixtures are really, really nice. I think there was an interview with him either yesterday or this morning saying, how disappointed he was, about last season. He has, he had some injuries, but he's back. He can't wait to show the fans what he can do. He'll have Maddison there, feeding him the ball as well. And I just think for 9 million, he's capable of, we know these 14, 15, 16 sort of point hauls. And I'm quite excited to have him in my team in that quite ridiculous 5-man midfield at the moment.
Wow, yeah. I mean, there's the money. There's the answer to my question. So I guess what you're going with right now is Son and Dalot over Trent and say a Mitoma, someone like that, plus 0.5 million as well.
Yeah, I think so. I think with Brighton, I just think without McAllister I don't think we're sure how they're gonna line up. Lost 2 players, they could be losing Casado as well. It's looking likely. So I'm not sure how they're going to start the season off. Like I say, happy with Estupinian and potentially Steele as well from a defensive view, but going forward, not really sure how they're going to line up. I think Mitoma only scored, I think it was 1 goal in their last 6 or 7 fixtures last year. So I'm not. I may be wrong on that, Jackie. Maybe you want to check on that. I'm reasonably sure.
I'll check it.
I'm reasonably sure that he only scored 1 goal in the last 6 or 7 game weeks or something. So yeah, I just think with Son, he's absolutely nailed. He got fixtures, got the creativity. Yeah, happy to go with that at the moment.
It's funny, I'm going back in Mitoma's stats here. If you do sign up using the link down below, you get access to these Opta stats. And I think his last goal was actually in game week 29. And after that, he didn't score a goal, according to the stats.
He
So
was incredibly unlucky. He had that one where he basically like scored a try, if you remember, where he slid over
yeah,
the line with his arm or whatever it was. And he looked dangerous. But yeah, I'm just not sure how Brighton are gonna fare going forward. It's hard to call their front line. Are they gonna play Ferguson or João Pedro or Welbeck? Where's Gross gonna play? How are they gonna replace McAllister?
yeah,
Is Enciso going to play? And I think Enciso at 5.5 million. I think if he's fit, if he's in the starting 11, I think he could be incredible value. I'd rather him than Mitoma and save the million personally just at this point. But yeah, it's still 3 weeks obviously to kind of go. But I like the look of Son. I think he could be. He's been 10.5, 11 million for years now,
yeah.
and performed at that level. And it's only last year he didn't, and all of a sudden he gets that price decrease to 9. I think Son and Bruno at 9 and 8.5, 17.5 million for both those players is crazy. Personally.
Yeah, I completely agree. The upside there with Son is crazy as well at just 6% ownership. Yeah, I agree. Turbulent summer for Brighton. Who knows how that will affect them losing a couple of their best players. They seem to have done well. Well, they have done really well when they've lost, big players in the past, but who knows? Could be different this time around. Okay, so that is the midfield. 26.5 million to go for the rest of your team. Is the big man in there?
He has to be, don't he? I mean, he's just, if you don't go with him and captain him, especially in the first game week, and he kicks off in that really nice fixture way to Burnley, then you're behind the curve already. So the big man is in there. I've gone for the 4.5 million as well, Surridge, but and then I've got the 8 million for the forward spot. And like I mentioned earlier, I really like the look of Arsenal, and I think that Jesus, I'm not sure what his ownership is actually. It's probably reasonably high, but 33%. I think there'll be 33. That's not ridiculously high. No. So I think there's I really like the thought of a double Arsenal attack, and I personally think that Saka and Jesus are probably they have the most potential. I think Jesus, did he score a brace in the last game of the season? He's back in now. He'll be starting up front. Arsenal will be rearing to go. Amazing fixture start off with, and I just always look at the number 9 in those sorts of games, and I can't go without him. So yeah, I go for Jesus.
It's funny. I wonder why his ownership is pretty much. Do you remember the start of last season? Jesus,
like 70%, 60-70%.
He was the most owned player, wasn't he? Above Haaland, I think. So I wonder why exactly. I mean, there are obviously now more Arsenal options that are perhaps a little bit more obvious. Odegaard and Martinelli having such good seasons, but nonetheless, I don't really know what's changed from the beginning of last season to the beginning of this. But his ownership has pretty much been halved.
I know, there's talk that he helps the team more and drops deep, but and obviously he was injured for a lot of last year, missed the World Cup, and missed a lot of the season. But if you watch the games, he is there, he is in the box, he is by the penalty spot, he's on the end of things. Didn't quite happen for him from time to time last year, but it's his first year as well. And again, 8 million personally, he looks a bit of a gift to me. I think he's more of like a 9.5, considering the team he plays for, the position he plays, the minutes he's going to get. So yeah, I think again he's a bit of a gift. I think Bruno, Son, and Jesus are underpriced personally.
Yeah, no doubt a lot of value in this team, and that is shown in the team rating.
Ooh,
98% we have here.
Wow.
With Haaland captain. 98%, pretty high. I mean, I don't know if there's much room for improvement there. You got to take that, right?
Absolutely. I think in all fairness, I did choose a couple of the players based on the predicted points on the hub, which obviously is reflected. Players like Dallo and Gabriel and Steele and stuff. Those 50-50 picks. If I'd have gone a different way, the rating may have been lower. But I trust the algorithm. The hub has helped me win massively in the past and stuff. So I'm gonna these will be refined. The expected minutes will be refined. We'll know more about kind of Flecken at Brentford. We'll know about Dallo or Wan-Bissaka. We will find out more. We'll know if Zinchenko is nailed, for example. So we will find out more. If Kane goes, for example, does that help or hinder Son? We're not really sure. But yeah, all through pre-season, I keep my eye on predicted points, and they will definitely be helping me, it is my team, but not take the identity out of how I play, because I do tend to like to chuck in a couple of differentials as well, just to spice it up.
I mean, that is shown in this team, despite the fact that you do mention predicted points a lot. You've still managed to find a couple of great differentials in there in Dallo and Son, who I've seen in very few teams. So yeah, respect for that. Guys, if you want to try and beat Fergie's score, I don't know. We'll have a look in a second.
Good luck.
Where
Good luck.
Perhaps, yeah, exactly. I don't know where this could have been improved, but 98% is very impressive. It's completely free to have a go at this. In the description, click the link, and you'll go straight there, and you can input your team. Now, Fergie, I feel like you're the best man here to explain to the viewers what else the site has to offer in terms of the premium memberships this year and the deals that we've got going.
Absolutely. So in pre-season, the AI transfers tab will give you up to a maximum of 3 recommended changes to boost the rating of your team. So if you click on the transfers tab, it'll give you a maximum of 3. As soon as you pass game week 1, it will give you kind of 1. It'll tell you to save, or it may give you a recommendation including a hit. Which is unlikely early in the season. Basically, what the transfers does, it analyzes your team, analyzes the fixtures, analyzes everything, multiple data points for everything, and will look at the best transfer, both in the short term and the long term for your team. So AI transfers, use it every single week. You don't have to go with the transfer, itself. If it's something you don't like, you don't have to. But what it did for me last year, which really, really helped, is it just gave me thought away from my own bias on things, and also what other people are telling me. This gives you a data-driven, objective recommendation that could make you go, well, I would never have thought of that.
Yeah.
I would never have thought of that. And that's what it does. And that's what I really, really like about it. So I'm not sure what the recommendations are for this team.
Wow, we're about to get into them.
Oh, really? Oh,
about to get into them, yeah. And it's really interesting because you actually mentioned this. You mentioned that the fact that the tool likes the City defense because the numbers are so good, despite the fact that, last season they did seem to just randomly concede a goal per game. And I guess that's when your own intuition comes into it. As you said, you're never going to be ruled by AI. Exactly. But according to the recommended transfers, which I completely agree, I think it is my favorite feature. It's just an absolutely brilliant tool that gives you an unbiased opinion. Gabriel is gone.
Wow.
Dalot is gone. And Son is gone.
Disappointed with that. I was hoping he'd stay in, but yeah.
And in comes Stones and Ake for a double up on the City defence.
Get it.
And then Odegaard in midfield.
It's hard to argue with a triple Arsenal attack.
Yeah.
One of the best attacks in the league with those fixtures. And it's hard to argue with the best statistically defense in the league with their fixtures as well. So it makes absolute sense. And this is what I mean is it's making me think, do I need to think about a Man City defender? Because even a City defender is probably a differential in itself as well, even though statistically they have the best defense, and a triple up on Arsenal. So if Arsenal go and beat Forest 4-1 or 5-1, the defender's not going to get a lot of points, whereas Saka, Odegaard and Jesus could absolutely clean up. So yeah, it's just different thinking, just gives you something to think about. Absolutely superb. And just a note, after game week 1, we'll have live points and live rank. So that's on the top left there, and the brand new feature is mini leagues as well. So
that's going to be. I've not even mentioned that yet so far.
Mini leagues.
That's going to be unbelievable.
It's going to be incredible. So you type in your mini league code, it brings up your mini league live, right? So if Salah scores or Haaland scores, your league is moving up and down, and then it tells you who's captained who. It tells you who did the transfers. It's all real time, all live. And then at the end of the game week, it'll give your mini league participants, I think it's maybe eight awards, and it's like a virtual sort of award or certificate, with kind of highest scoring team of the week, lowest scoring. There's a couple of funnier ones in there, like most bench players and sheep of the week if your team's the most template and all this jazz. So obviously the live points, live rank, and mini leagues will all be after game week 1, once the deadline is gone. But we're really, really excited. It's just a bit of fun with it. But yeah, it's going to be really cool. And obviously, the live points, live ranking me leagues are all free as well. The only pro part of this, are the AI transfers. And that's, obviously we've paid a lot of money for people to develop this tool, as you can guess. So yeah, that's in a nutshell, as well as everything else, all the team reels and everything else. The other tab, the AI team tab, members can click on the AI team tab and it will tell you the best possible algorithm team for game week 1, and moving forward, going into the new season after game week 1, it'll tell you the best team for that week and the best wildcard team every single week, again for members only.
Got a special video coming with Bakar actually very soon, having a look at the AI team and getting his thoughts on it, which I think will be very interesting. But yeah, for now, 98% team rating puts you second.
Second
behind me. Sadly.
No way. Gotta be a fix.
I mean, I don't know.
You must be a hub member.
Oh, there it is. I just read all the articles. What can I say? I learn from the best.
Super.
But,
who?
Very good.
I'll watch your video.
Yeah, exactly. You got to watch it. Just came out
I'll get some tips. And just before we go, we're also running an offer as well. If you want to become a pro member, 50% off all through pre-season. And we also ran it last year, run it this year as well. For anyone who pays for membership, win your mini league, or we refund your membership, which we did plenty of times last year. Also gave away a load of free memberships as well. So, it's win-win really.
That's the mind-blowing one. That's the one that I keep mentioning, because I just don't really understand it from a financial perspective. But I love it.
Well,
I love it for everyone watching.
Well, with that confidence that our, that my team and the recommendations and everything else and everything you read on site will help you win your mini league, and that's basically the crux of it, and we've got tens of thousands of very, very happy members who agree with us. So
there we go. Amazing stuff. So much going on the website this year. It's pretty impressive, I'm not going to lie. Links to all of that down below in the description. Fergie, thank you very much. 98%, not quite number one, but
always a bridesmaid. See, always a bridesmaid.
Yeah, of course. Well, who knows? Might get you back on later in pre-season for your final team. But for now, that's the team. Guys, thank you very much for watching as always, and I'll catch you on the next episode.